This video is with Eileen Kent. I interviewed her and we covered the topic of bid or no bid. So making a decision on whether to pursue a federal opportunity or to let it go and focus on other efforts. Eileen has been in this game for decades. She's renowned across the small business government contracting community, and you are in for a treat.
I'm here today with Eileen Kent, the Federal Sales Sherpa, and I'm Josh Laddick, President of GSA Focus. And Eileen, we met right when you were kind of transitioning into your own company. It's been about a decade now. You, in fact, just celebrated your 10-year anniversary. Congratulations. And yeah, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and how your journey's been going?
Oh, great. Well, Josh, thank you so much for having me today. I can't wait to talk about our subject, to bid or not to bid. That's the $64,000 question. As you know, my name's Eileen. I'm known in the industry, and it's kind of funny because the industry nicknamed me this in 2004 when I was running the Federal Sales Academy for FedMarket. I am now the Federal Sales Sherpa, and I started my own business in 2012 when companies were coming to me one-on-one and they were looking at doing business with the federal government. They had exhausted all their free PTAC resources and SBA resources. They were ready to start really wanting to hit the ground running. They might not have the budget to actually hire a full-time salesperson yet, or they're about to, and they really needed someone who's been doing this for 10, 20 years to point them in the right direction on who buys what they sell, what to say, and how to go after it. So I built the 3-step program, which is 3 easy 2.5-hour meetings with me. The first one's the federal sales game, how to play to win. The second one, I do a deep dive competitive analysis, looking at the data, seeing who buys what to sell, how they buy it. You know, if they are a GSA schedule holder or they're considering hiring you, Josh, as a GSA schedule consultant, one of the best things they could do is take a look at the data to see how much work is actually happening on schedule, walking into this with their eyes wide open. And then it allows us, that deep dive competitive analysis helps us focus on 4 or 5 agencies, and then I build a federal sales action plan around those agencies and then coach the company on what to say, to call on, how to find them, how to reach out, and capture business before it ever hits the streets. So that's kind of what I do, and you can find me at federalsalessherpa.com or on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn, so feel free to connect with me there.
Mhm. Yeah, thanks for that, Eileen. And I have sat in on some of your presentations, and the data that you pull is, it's pretty amazing. There's so much federal information out there. I mean, they release data by the millions of records, and you have a talent when it comes to boiling it down to just the good stuff that's need to know, and then turning that into something that's actionable, and then turning it, intelligent, building intelligence off of the data, and then turning it into an action where your customers just have the path set before them, which is amazing. There's I have a lot of all my customers pretty much are small business, and they get that kind of oh shoot moment when their contract lands, their GSA contract, and they're like, well, what do I do now, Josh?
Right.
And I'm like, well, I'm a paperwork guy. I can tell you a couple of things, but you got to have a big grain of salt with everything I say. This isn't what I'm doing day in and day out. So it's great that you're out there and offering the support. And yeah, today you'll be going over bid, no bid, and
Yeah.
this was your topic of choice. So that's that basically makes it so I'm very much looking forward to hearing what you have to say about it. So yeah, let's launch in. Why don't if you
Right.
want to share your screen, you have that ability. But yeah, and I'll just kind of interrupt every once in a while and try to ask a question on behalf of a small business. I'll put on my small business hat and
Great.
ask a question that I think people would want to ask.
Great. So before I share my screen, I am so passionate about this subject because you talk about helping your clients with the GSA schedule, which I always recommend anybody hiring a consultant to do that for you. I do not touch GSA schedules with a 10-foot pole, so that's not my area of expertise. You leave that for people like Josh, right? And but the thing is it's the now what moment. I had to, when I was first selling to the feds, we just got our GSA schedule and I was sent on the Lewis and Clark expedition. So I had no training and I literally walked the halls in LA, San Francisco, San Diego, Dallas, Atlanta, DC, and Chicago. 7 out of 8 weeks for a year, I was on the road banging down federal doors in person, Josh. So the thing that I learned very quickly was, the people that didn't want to work with me would point me to the public bid sites, go watch this website for my postings. But the people that did want to work with me started showing me their problems, their pains, what they weren't happy with the incumbent, they were hoping to accomplish in the future. They were opening up to me and telling me what their pains were. And then all of a sudden, when we started to talk about solutions, they pretty much handheld me through the process. And by the time I saw it, or it came up publicly, or it came through GSA eBuy, I already knew about it. And usually those specs were something that I may have had an influence on. So I want you to just kind of have this feeling of getting there, knowing the story before it hits the streets. We have to be dedicated to this. So why I care about the bid no bid decision so much is my hope is you already know this stuff when it comes to your clients. And before we even begin looking at the questions we're going to ask ourselves, Josh, what I like to do is think about the price, the amount of time and money it takes to actually respond to a bid. Now, if it's a bid like a GSA schedule that Josh creates, that's going to take like a year to get. I'm sure, Josh, you have a way of making it go faster, but it's fast to fill out the paperwork, but you actually have to kind of get in line until they open up the paperwork and respond and you negotiate. So some people can make that process go faster because they know the people on the inside, or a client wants their stuff, but it takes time. That is a type of bridge that they might use for tasks. So when there's an actual task proposal, it's an actual need for something. So usually when a bid comes through eBuy or GSA schedule or Seaport or some sort of contract vehicle, those tasks are actual business. And that proposal process is condensed quite a bit. So the effort isn't as hard because you've already done all the hard work with the IDIQ, the GSA, or the other multiple award type contract early on, and then the tasks kind of come through quickly. But if you're looking at something that's published at sam.gov, that's a huge proposal, a big IDIQ, a big task that's in the millions and millions, this is going to take 4 to 6 months to even award, and it's going to take at least a month or two to get your paperwork together to send in. Now, if you sell products, it might be a list of your products, and in the proposal goes. Easy peasy, done in like 8 hours. But what I'm talking about are some of the bigger things you're looking at that you think you can do, like a huge construction project or a huge paving project or a big IT contract. You think, oh, it's AI. That's what we do. We should bid this, right? Well, we got to stop for a minute and just figure out what it's going to cost us in our own internal time and energy to write it. Do we need professional proposal writers to help us with that? Do we need to pull our salespeople out of the field and our project managers off of site, non-billable, to be working on this proposal? And if they're not doing it during the day, are they working on it at night and weekends? So hello to the small business owner who is every one of those roles and putting all your chips on that one opportunity and spending all your family time working on this on weekends and evenings. You're giving up your kids' plays and baseball games for this. So you are investing quite a bit into this proposal. But let's put some numbers on it. So if there was a big proposal, let's just say it's a $10 million proposal, big, gigantic one. You're going, oh my God, this is ideal for me. And you need 4 people for 30 days at $100 an hour working on this proposal. Writing the past performance, the technical, getting together with all your teaming partners, pulling everybody in. That's going to cost your company in time and energy like 65 grand.
Hmm.
So why would you just look at a proposal and say, this is perfect for us? We got to stop for a minute and perform the bid, no bid decision. And the people that need to be involved in that need to be the owner who's investing all this time and money, the salesperson that uncovered it, the proposal manager that's going to help you write this thing, and your project manager and project teams that have to write that technical. Everybody get together, circle up around the room, and you're going to need to start asking the following questions. And I'm giving you, I have a template here that I'm sharing. It's a Word document. I'm going to give it to Josh, and he's going to make it available to you. So simply just ask Josh for a copy, and you're welcome to have it. So it's a Word document, so it's not a PDF. You can update it and add your own question. So the first question is who the heck identified the opportunity? Did a teaming partner call you and say, this is out there and I want to work on this with you? Well, what do they know about the opportunity? Maybe you're already on the inside. What if a proposal writer found this and sent this to you? Some sort of company that wants to sell you their services of proposal writing. Who found this for you? Was this your salesperson that happened to see it on SAM or in the procurement forecast? Or, think about this, what if it was a project manager on site who heard about this opportunity months and months before it even happened and has been meeting with the client for a while? Do you notice the difference suddenly of already who uncovered it and the importance, the level of importance of, oh, this could be a possibility. And by the way, if you see me looking slightly to the right, I'm looking at you, Josh. So I just wanted to let you know on the video. If you see me looking, I'm not flirting with someone behind the camera. I'm looking at you. Okay, so here we go. So who's on our capture team? So we have salespeople, we have business managers, we have people that can go into the data and go look at this information. We have owners and managers and teaming partners that maybe we're on Seaport NXG and we have a whole team that we have all kinds of teaming people that are together. Who can circle up that are capture people that know information and can possibly go get further information for us? So who are those people on our team and what is their role? The next question is this thing already out on the street and we're making this bid no bid decision now? That's a problem as far as I'm concerned, because by the time it hits the streets, I want you to have this. It might be too late. Someone might have already driven this, written it, and been talking to the client for a long, long time. But if it's not out yet, we might be still in a very good position. Now, who are the contacts that we know inside that agency? Not just the contracting officer listed as the point of contact on the bid, but who do we know in the project level? So if this is a construction project, do we know the facilities team? Do we know the DPW? Do we know installation support? Have we ever met them before? Maybe we were at a Society of American Military Engineers Association meeting and they told us a year back this was happening. Maybe we did a capabilities briefing and they told us it was coming. And the next question is, do we think they're on the evaluation committee? So who do we know inside and what is their role and are they possibly on the evaluation committee? Right? Now, who at the customer site developed the bid or the specs or the statement of work? When I was in the furniture world, Josh, all I had to do when I was up against my competitors is look at the measurements of the size and shape of furniture they needed. My furniture was 8 by 10, 10 by 12, 12 by 14. My competitors was 9 by 11, 11 by 13. The minute I saw the specs, I knew who it was. I can tell. So if you've done enough research on your competitors, you can recognize your competitors' terminology and also go straight to the past performance criteria. Is that a past performance story that you told them during a capabilities briefing, or is that one of your competitors? I go, that's a big tell. If you're looking for tells, past performance. I had a roofing opportunity I was going after. We were the incumbent, Josh, the incumbent. And we were going to do solar on this rooftop. And then the bid came out and it said past performance. You must have put a solar roof on a roof within 5 miles of this building. Now, we were the largest solar roofer in the country, but we hadn't put anything 5 miles. So I'm like, someone got in there and maybe put some little solar 3 panels on some small Navy rooftop nearby, but someone snuck in. They're taking this from us. I could see it. So go straight to the past performance and take a look at that and look at the specs. And you can usually tell pretty quickly who wrote them. Also, when you see a lot of mistakes in it, then you know the program manager probably wrote them and they didn't know a lot about the industry. But if it looks very expert and well done, your competitor might have written that for them. Now, if there's a bunch of words inside the specification that look a lot like words that you taught them, that looks pretty good. So take a look at that. Who do we know? Now, this is something I like to share with people. Who do we know who has a relationship with the customer? I call this person the fox in the hen house. And here's what I mean. I've been recommended by other facility managers to go talk to this other facility. They're friends because they're part of the International Facility Manager Association, and the one customer of mine was happy with my services and sent me over to another location. Go see my buddy over at blah, blah, blah base because I think they need you, and I'll give them a call and let them know you're coming, right? So then I go meet the client, and then my other client says to me, hey, Eileen, they didn't like your project manager. Okay. Set up a new meeting, bring a new project manager in. Hey, Eileen, they like him. Good job, right?
Mhm.
So I've been coached by other end users at other agencies because when they refer me in, that's their reputation. If I do a good job, that makes them look good. So if you have a fox who sent you in, who referred you in, and they're coaching you and helping you and giving you feedback, you're in a really good position. This is a big indicator for me. Now, is this an existing contract vehicle that they're running this through? And if it is, who is the incumbent? Or is this an existing, contract vehicle and a contract that they had? So sometimes you might see on the bid, this is a new requirement. I never believe that. Josh, never. New requirement. Get out of here. What I like to do is go back into what they call the contract data part of sam.gov. And like you said earlier, I pull information based on keywords and competitor names and the actual offices that are buying. I take a look at who did that work before because they are the most, probably the highest chances of winning is someone who's been doing the same kind of work. Even if it's a new requirement, someone's been doing the same kind of work for a while there. Don't assume that it's brand new. Go find out who's been doing a good job. And then what we need to find out is how long have they been doing it? Do they keep getting repeat business? Or are they a company that just has an IDIQ with them, but they're not getting any work? Only one of those companies is getting a bunch of work on their
And
IDIQ.
USA Spending, I
Have a
just
question?
noticed. Oh, and I was just going to interject usaspending.gov. I think it's new because I didn't see it before, but I was in there the other day and they have all of the task orders just lined up there in a box on the bottom now. So you can really, the data is there. If something comes out
Right.
and you track it back to that page, you can see, oh, they've really layered onto this contract. They've just been, expanding it and expanding it.
Right. And if you download that data, it comes in a really messy spreadsheet that's eye-crossing and you want to cry. So there are key things that you're going to always look for is the contract description. That's a really, description of requirement column that really helps. And also looking at the beginning and the ending date of that task so you can see when it's coming to an end. So there's some really good columns in there, but they really douse you with like 330 columns worth of information.
Yeah.
And to me, it's really grinds down to about 50, which is the story that we care about. Who is it? What agency? What contract vehicle? How many bids did they get last time? When is it coming to an end? What did they do? Who won it and how? So you're right. The data's there if you know how to read it and interpret it properly, but it is juicy and it is there. So looking at who the incumbent is, and a lot of people have a hard time figuring out who the incumbent is, but I've done this enough times, it's really fun to discover. The other question is are they going to use a set aside, and does it fit what you do? Because if it doesn't fit your set aside, don't give up. find a buddy. Find a buddy. But if you were in there talking to them and you told them you were 8A and they decided to go service disabled vet, to me that's an indicator that I either need to find a service disabled vet or I'm not a contender here. Because if they really wanted me, they probably would have done an 8A. Opportunity, set aside something. Now, you also have to assume that they're going to hedge their bets. I want you to think about this. If you're an end user on the inside and you're putting a bid out and you want to use a particular incumbent, you're also going to probably talk to at least 3 or 4 other vendors. Because if the incumbent does a crummy job writing that proposal and makes a stupid mistake, they want to have at least 3 others to choose from that are pretty good still.
Yeah.
So don't assume that you're always the winner and this thing is yours. Always assume they're talking to your competitors. They wouldn't be savvy if they didn't, wouldn't you? You know, and prepare them to. So why not put, and this is, I was talking to this one lady at Public Building Services, Josh. I was, when I was selling roofing during the American Recovery Act, I got in to see her, and she literally on her back wall, she had the entire American Recovery Act budget behind her with it all laid out on how the money in PBS was going to be spent. And she had a sticky note that said roofing, which was at the time, that's what I was selling. And she had a sticky note that said, see this roofing? We don't know what we're going to do with this. We don't know if it's going to come from the top or if it's going to go through each region or each building. It ended up going through each region, each service center, each building. So we had to kind of track everything at the local level. But when I asked her, you know, who's probably going to get the big ones? She said the usual suspects. So I want you to start saying, who are the usual suspects? Round them up. Look them up, see what they're doing, ask around, see who and at that time it was Turner, Mortensen, Clark, you know, Whiting, all those large primes that were hanging out. So the next thing is looking our team members in the eye and saying, have you actually had a conversation with the customer about this? Well, yeah. What do you mean by that? Oh, I sent in a list of questions during bid no bid. No. I'm talking about capabilities briefings, conversations on LinkedIn through emails to each other offline. Do you know what their voice sounds like? Do you know if they're married? Do you know their family life? Usually a federal employee will talk about, personal things before they talk about business. So if you don't know anything about this person, what their goals, dreams, and desires are, and what they're hoping to accomplish, if you don't know when they're going to retire, then you don't know them. You know, so I always look my salespeople in the eye. Do you know them? I mean, do you know them?
Yeah.
Oh, of course I know. Well, tell me about them. And, oh, well, that's privy information. Or I don't have time for this. Those are indicators to me that my salesperson has no idea who that person is. And I just caught him out. I don't mean to be rough about this, but if we're going to spend $65,000 on a proposal effort, we have to be picky to only write winners. I want you to write this down, Josh, and you and anybody out there listening to this. Your new phrase is only write winners. You only have time to put all your talent into a proposal and to hire a proposal manager and to get the right people together. Only ring the dinner bell for winners. So these are starting to show, you get to by here, you're going to know. But we'll keep diving in a little bit deeper. The next question is, what's the win theme? And people go, what's that? And I say to my salespeople, the one reason they're going to choose us. Why are they going to choose us? And they'll say, because we're the best. No. Why specifically are they going to choose us? And then they look at me with blank eyes. I don't know what you're talking about. So then I have to interview. I'm the proposal manager. I have to interview my salesperson. Did you meet the client? Yes, I did. This is a classic example. Let me give you 2 examples. I had one salesperson who said, I want us to bid on this deal. I said, tell me the story. What's the win theme? And they said, I found it on sam.gov. And I'm like, game over. Done. It's due Monday. Nope. Bye. But it's $5 million. And they call their bosses. Eileen won't write my proposal. And then another salesperson, I'll say, what's the win theme? The other salesperson says, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, well, tell me about the client. Tell me the story. Well, I delivered a bunch of tables and chairs a couple months ago, and I visit them every day, every morning to say good morning. How you guys doing? You need any more tables and chairs? And this morning, they told me they're bugging out, and they need 150 workstations and 50 offices, and they need it next week, and I need you here next week because I already know the space. I have the space plan. We just have to pick out what furniture they need. Okay, that's a deal. That's a story. But the win theme was they wanted even size workstations made by Hayworth, matching the furniture that they had. They wanted mahogany furniture that we knew our competitors didn't carry in all the offices. So we're the only company who could deliver Hayworth even size workstations in less than 2 business days. That's a win theme. It's ingredients to what the client told us they wanted. I like to use the experiment of, Josh, just if you ever sit down with your clients, give them the idea of a cake. I say, let's say they posted, I want a cake on sam.gov. What are the questions? Anybody can bake a cake. Everybody, that's perfect. I could bake a cake for $3 million. We're going to write this proposal, right? First question is going to be what? They want a cake.
What are the ingredients?
Exactly. What kind? What flavor? What icing? How many pieces? Anybody have allergies? What's the occasion? What if we show up with a wedding cake and all they needed was a little retirement cake for 10 people? We look stupid when we write that proposal. So my first question when I give the win theme idea to my sales team, I say, it's like they put up a cake and we don't know the occasion. We don't know how many pieces. Did we sit down and do a taste testing with them? Do we know what they like, what their allergies are? And then the salesperson goes, oh, they told me they wanted the furniture, Hayworth. They told me they wanted it to match. Now I'm getting it. They gave me all the hints of why they're choosing me and why we're unique. And another thought about win themes, Josh, is many times the win theme is the project manager you have on your team. They want that person to manage it. So they could have a resume out there. You must have your PhD and you must have this background, but they told you because their project manager went to school with your project manager. They want your person. And we're the only ones who have Joe on our team. Sweet, win theme.
Yeah.
And so we're going to put that all over the proposal, reminding them, Joe will be doing this and Joe will be doing that, right? So a win theme is the specific ingredients of the things that we know that they told us they wanted, and we're the only ones who have the recipe, who have it, and know to present it. The other thing that they're afraid of, and this is for small businesses, is they're really afraid of something. And it's usually, if we're a small business, do we have the bench strength, the capability, the ability to scale, the financial backing to stand behind this project, the inventory, the hire people on hireable quickly? Do we have an incumbent vendor behind us with the staff? So we need to address the elephant in the room right away, tame it and put it to sleep, comfortably to bed. So on page 1, so we have to talk about this at the bid no bid decision, because if they say, well, they're putting it out as a small business set aside, but they're freaking out because they really were hoping to get a large business for this. Well, where's the incumbent? Let's team with them. Let's get them on board with us. Who are they signed with, right? So let's address the elephant in the room and get them on our team and get it fixed. So what do we have as offerings that are safe bets? Do we have guarantees? Do we have safety measures that are better than anybody else? At my roofing company, our safety record was ridiculously good. They used safety record as an evaluation criteria because they knew ours would smoke everybody else's. So they would just say, tell us what your safety record was, knowing ours was really ridiculously good. So we would win every time so we told them, use safety record as evaluation criteria and you'll get us. because we'll come in, price is off the table. It won't matter. Then the next thing is, what's the value of this opportunity? Okay, we're going to spend $64,000 of our time, our efforts, our weekends, our evenings. We're going to ring the dinner bell. We're going to get all our salespeople, our project team, our teaming partners together. And are we going to make any money on this? What if it's only a $100,000 deal? So let's take a look at this realistically, because we should get all of our numbers in a row before we even write this proposal. We should know that how much money we're making. Because a lot of people start adding stuff up at the end and go, oh, shoot, we're going to lose money on this. Why did you go through 30 days of this? So do your numbers now. Do your numbers now.
Yeah.
So, and then another, just circle back to the win theme. What is the reason again why the customer is going to choose us? Because if there's a specific reason, we need to say it over and over again, because that person who wants us on the evaluation committee, they're going to be using that reason and fighting for us in the evaluation committee. So we need to say that thing over and over again in the proposal, that win theme.
Yeah.
And once again, I've got a little dollar amount, how many people, how many days, number of hours, per hour is the rate, what are the production, what is it going to cost us to write this proposal? So that's in the bid, no bid. The cost of losing. And don't forget the cost of completely demoralizing the team and them not coming to the table to help when you actually do have a winner on hand. So make sure you got to do a sales pitch to your team that's going to write this. What type of bid is it? Is it a public RFP, an IDIQ, a task order? Because if it's an IDIQ that you're going after, like last summer, everybody went after CIO SP4, which was a huge IDIQ that's IT related for Health and Human Services, and we know that Homeland Security is going after it. 14,000 vendors applied for that.
Wow.
And if you looked at the data, they both use GSA schedules too. I'm just saying. They don't have to use CIOSB4. It's just a choice. It's going to be, I called it the great distraction of 2021. Why would you spend all summer chasing that down, working on that, when you could be winning deals today with other ways of closing deals? So if it's a quick IDIQ, RFQ, RFI, those are easy. Those are not hard. If it's through GSA schedule, the bid's only going to be 25 pages instead of 250 pages. It's going to be wrapped around the task, a couple past performances, pricing. You don't have to do all that financial stuff, none of that stuff. So it's much easier. So it's an easier turnaround. And I want to say two other things. What's the budget? Now, when someone says to me, well, it says on the bid here, the budget's 500,000 to $1 million. And I go, no. What did the client tell you the budget was? Because most vendors will go, well, we'll make it 999,000 as a response. And I'm like, no. They put 500 to $1 million, but really they expect it to be 512,000. And that's it. I mean, what is the real budget that they talk to you about? Get in there and know where you need to land, because you might look ridiculous being twice as much as everybody else. We've all been there, by the way, just saying. That's probably one of the biggest shockers, Josh. Right after someone becomes a brand new GSA schedule holder, the first time they start bidding, they have a heart attack because everything's a lot less than they thought. And I just say, brace your heart for it, everybody. Brace your budget for it, everybody, because you will adjust and you'll tweak. So you're going to write some losers in the beginning, and you'll adjust your pricing, and it's going to be like haywire like this for a while, but then you'll start knowing where you need to be. And we know other people too. Josh, I'll have to introduce you. Probably know some too. Some people that know how to find out where pricing needs to land. But my hope is that you talk to the customer and you know where the budget is, because you manage their expectations on what the budget should be early as possible. Now, I love this last question. This last question is, go through all the questions again. Did you answer them with hope, or did you answer them based on facts?
Yeah.
And look everybody in the eye. Now, what I like to do is say, if you decide that it's a no-go, don't have an attack of owner ego-itis. So and so's in there, so I have to show them what I've got. No, you don't, because they might be wasting their time too, or they might win a bid that they won't make any money. If this deal is not going to make you any money, walk. Don't buy it. They call it buying the business when you go equal to or lower than making money. Don't do that. The government does not want you to go out of business while you're working with them. That's the last thing they want.
Yeah.
So if someone else got in there, beat you to it, let them have it and move on. Go to something that you actually will win. Now, let me just tell you the difference between that two deals, the one that was $5 million and it's due on Monday, and I said, forget that, and the $500,000 deal that I flew to. That was money in the bank. It was not 5 million, it was 500,000, but it was real. So enough real wins will get you to the 5 million, but writing loser proposals that are hopeful all day just to get, oh, I'm going to write a loser proposal, so then they'll meet with me and give me a debriefing. And then a lot of beginner federal government contracting coaches constantly push, write a proposal, write a proposal, write a proposal for the debrief, write a proposal to just get your foot in the door, and I'm saying, stop the madness. Develop a sales action plan and start reaching out to people and getting to know people and finding out what their pains are, and win under the radar smaller deals that you can organically grow on site, your past performance, your opportunities. Nobody even hears about it on SAM. And you grow organically. That's the way this business is won. It's quiet and under the radar. It isn't a huge proposal effort that is happening on SAM and everybody's talking about it. But it's also, you have to start becoming as picky as possible about investing your time in bids. If you go to the debrief and you've lost a deal, learn from how you could do it better, but never forget to ask these two questions at that debrief. What's coming down the pipeline? Because if you truly were the second one you lost by just this much and they liked you, they're heartbroken and they want you to come back, and they will tell you at the debrief, hey, we got this happening. Let's get you in the office and start talking to the team about that now. I've even seen people get awards, Josh, at the debriefing, asking what's coming down the pipeline, and they hand them a sole source opportunity. I'm sorry you lost this one, but we've got this work for you. That's how impressed we were of you. The other question is, which it happens regularly, that other vendor that undercut you in price and they blow it when it comes to delivery, tell them, I'd love to be the backup vendor, just in case. It shows that you're a good loser, that your prices are solid, you're confident about what you offered, and that you're there for the long haul, not just for writing bids. I'm here for you. So if things go upside down on this thing, just know we're standing on the wings, ready to help however you need us. Show that you're a good loser, and then ask anything coming down the pipeline, because if you write a proposal and you lose, the only foot in the door you have at that point is asking what's coming, besides learning how to do it better. So any questions from the bid no bid process that we just discussed?
Yeah, it's right, kind of picking up on the topic right where you left off. First off, that list is amazing. It's so complete, it's so next level. Everything on it is just amazing and so well thought out. Even the last one, go back to the start and take off your rose-colored glasses. Now, what about a final section that is all and I'm not really proposing anything, but I'm just kind of saying, what about how companies can take your list, which applies to everybody, and then grow it and customize it to themselves? So if their debriefings if they start taking their notes and pulling them together from debriefings and start saying, oh, there's a little bit of a pattern here, let's take Eileen's list and thank heavens it's in Word format and expand the table. So yeah,
Yep.
that
The first thing I would do is go to the specs. I would take that section of the who wrote the specifications, and then I would take details. Did they ask and use some of your keywords for things? Did they use these keywords? And then look at the past performance. Did they mention, are they letting us supply these 3 past performances that we did before? Are
yeah.
they, for example, if you only write software in Drupal, for example, that's your thing,
Hmm.
right? Did they mention Drupal in the
Yeah.
proposal, that they wanted in that language? So find the things that in your specifications that make you unique, put that in that section of the bid no bid. Did they ask about these specific things, which are what we do? And I'm not just saying database management, project management. I need like
Hmm.
Java experts that have 10 years experience or more.
Yeah.
Aerospace engineers with their doctorates in aerospace from a solid school. The real specific things that you would have said to the client that could be factors that would make a difference in the bid, and they're using your words in their specs. So yes, I would put that in. I had one guy, for example, in class. He said, Eileen, this sounds crazy, but whenever we gave our specs to someone, like sometimes this particular guy was an engineer, and he said their verbiage and their specs were really technical, but he said we had one gobbledygook word that we would stick in the middle of it. And so then we used it as a keyword searching for anything in SAM.
Hmm.
And if that showed up, that was our spec. So we would never miss our own specs. And he said it
Yeah.
was like a word that no one would even know it was a gobbledygook word, but it was a made up word they put in the specs.
That's
Pretty
that's
brilliant, if
great.
you ask
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. I had a customer test me that way too. I wonder if it's the same person. He put
Yeah, could
he
be.
listed a
So
I
there's
think
some
in
interesting ways to
yeah.
hook that stuff in. Yep. Lessons
Yeah.
learned.
Definitely. Definitely. Um, you had mentioned a way to kind of divert from the dollar amount being the kind of the I forget what the term was.
The range that they
Yeah,
give.
over to kind of them hooking onto a certain oh, what was it? It was maybe it was years of experience or something like that. But yeah, and that kind of got me thinking about just the way that in the GSA world, best value, that's the term that they throw around a lot. It's like we're not looking for the best price, we're looking for the best value. So in
Right.
your world, in your words, what would you define best value as?
Great. So best values have to be something that's quantifiable, Josh. So it's got to be something that you can prove and it can be measured against others.
Hmm.
So, for example, speed to deliver in GSA is a big one. Like in
Yeah.
my furniture rental world, I could deliver in 48 hours and pick up in 48 hours. But so could my competitors. So that wasn't anything unique. So it was the best value, but it wasn't a win theme. See the difference? It was strong because 2 days.
Hmm.
I'm managing their expectations to ask for that. Now, in the roofing company, we had a safety record that was so good, and they call it it's called the EMR rating in insurance. It's an insurance rating, Josh, for construction
Hmm.
companies, like how many people have been hurt, right? So we had 3,000 roofers, and what normally happens is an EMR rating, if a construction company, if someone was hurt or killed, and if it's over 1.0, it all depends on the size of the business, the government won't even consider you as a vendor. If it's over 1.0, they're like, sorry, you're not safe enough, right? So as a roofing
Hmm.
company, we only had one broken arm, and we had 3,000 roofers on roofs every day in 5 years. So our EMR rating was called a 0.56. And whenever I would say that to a customer, they would go, oh, that's amazing. And I would say, just put the spec out there that safety record must be 1.0 or below, and we'll make a best value determination. We come in at that 0.56, and
Yeah.
no one could touch them. You know, my brother was in the business for many years. He was one of the original designers of the stealth fighter, and he started a business called Mission Research Corporation in Dayton, Ohio. He started his business with 3 people who had their doctorates in aerospace and a receptionist.
Hmm.
Their best value, Josh, was 75% of our employees have their doctorates in aerospace. And they beat Boeing and Lockheed left and right. Whenever Wright-Patterson wanted mission research, they would put that best value. And he grew his business to 600 people and sold it to ATK. But all that time, they grabbed every doctoral graduate out of every school. And that best value was their name brand best value. And whenever the other competitors saw it, they just backed away. They want mission research. They want Bill's company. So
Yeah.
you can set your own best values, but you have to teach the customer what they are. So then they ask for it.
Yeah.
So it's up to you to make your own best values important.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I think I have one more question, Eileen, and then we'll wrap it up. But yeah, I always like to ask this with people that know that are as knowledgeable as you are. What is a good batting average? So, what's a good win percentage or win rate for a
Yeah.
company?
So
What should they aim
first of
for?
all, I gotta say that's a really good question, because a lot of people ask me, that's an 80% chance of winning. No, it's not. No, it's not. They always have to get 3, and they're hedging their bets on 3 at least. So if you have the win theme, they want you, and you're a small business, by the way. I'm just going to throw this at my small businesses and challenge you with this. Why aren't they sole sourcing it to you if you're the one? Unique
Yeah.
source. They could do it if they wanted to. If
Yeah.
you're an 8A service disabled vet, hub zone, they could easily sole source up to $4 million. If you're the one, they would do that. Now, if they have to compete it against 3, if you've really nailed it, I would say you have a 30% chance of winning, because
Mhm.
anything can happen.
Okay.
They could find, I've had proposals, I'm not kidding you, that I knew we were the winner and one typo and we're out, because they used the typo to kick us out, but someone on the evaluation committee didn't want us. I mean,
Mhm.
that's the reality, is they didn't
Yeah.
know, trust, or love us, and that's why we lost. It's never on price. They'll tell everybody you lost on price because they negotiated the other guy low enough to get underneath you. And they can tell
Yeah.
you price, but
Yeah.
it's always, they choose who they know, trust, and love. And especially when it's something big, $1 million or more. Would you hand $1 million to someone you never met before? Come on. That's chancy. That's putting your career on the line. They're betting their retirements on you doing a good job. So you have to have nailed it in the win theme and getting to their fears. And if you're brand new to the industry, you have to prove yourself in such a way. Just one little quick story, just to help you nail this at home. When I was first selling to the feds, I was, as I told you, traveling around the country, and I was going to every TSA. This was right after 9/11. And I was going to every TSA because they were setting up over 400 locations. That was business for me in temporary office turnaround like that, right? Well, every person I talked to out in the field, they kept saying, Eileen, DC won't let me use you. DC won't let me use you. I'm in San Diego. DC, LA, DC, DC. And I'm like, all right, who's Mr. or Ms. DC? Who is it? So I found her, and she was at TSA in the DC area. And I called her, and she said, yes, please come in. So I brought my boss with me. I was so excited. I flew to DC. I brought my boss with me. We walk in, and Josh, she gave me a lobby appointment. A lobby. I flew to DC for a lobby. You know how insulting that can be? And I did the stand up. I'm dying. I'm like, I'm totally fired. and we're doing this presentation to her standing up in the lobby. And she just throws out a question. Hey, Eileen, does every month's rent go toward the purchase? And I said, for us? Yeah. She goes, where were you when this came out? I said, we weren't on GSA schedule yet. We just got on just a couple months ago. But we've been doing this for 25 years for corporations.
Yeah.
And she has a fit. She starts jumping up and down. She said, I just signed with your competitor, the name brand in the business, and I couldn't take you upstairs because they share an office with me.
Mm.
And you know what? I'm going to stick it to them. My buddies over at the headquarters of Homeland Security need your services too, and I'm going to walk you in and tell them to work with you. So I walked in to work with them, and the project manager there said, what's your past performance? Have you done any government business? I said, no, I'm brand new. but we've been doing this for 25 years. He goes, tell me some of the projects you've done. And I said, I helped Boeing move from Seattle to Chicago. And he goes, okay, when that bid comes out, I'm gonna give you I'm gonna let you submit that Boeing request, that Boeing project. So the bid came out, Josh, and it said, you must have past performance with the government or similar size and scope with a name brand prime will recognize. He
Yeah.
cracked open the door, right? So in I went with my proposal. Now, I'm at his office. This is the kind of stuff you have to stay on top of this stuff. I'm in his office and he's got all my competitors' quotes. And he said, Eileen, where's your quote? And I said, I've been waiting for it through GSA. And he said, well, I don't have it here. I said, I've been waiting for them to, remember, I was new on GSA. So this is for your new clients. GSA didn't know who I was. So he called GSA and said, where is Eileen's quote? And they told him, Josh, with me standing there, Eileen told us she's not interested. He said, Eileen, are you interested? I said, yes, I'm interested. And they were like, they sent me the quote. I sent mine in. We won. So I literally had to sit on top of this deal. You have to sit on your deals. And when you're new and the client wants you, you have to sit on everything. If you haven't heard about where the bid was posted or someone slipped it on another category that you're not on, you got to sit on this stuff. If you're going to bid on it, you're all in. You got to fight for it, right? And then when I won it, of course I started to deliver. It was the very first offices of Homeland Security, the very first 30 workstations. I started to build that space and get more and get more. And then of course I ran out of furniture and I had to start working with the other guys and bring them in through me, right? So I had my bench strength. So that's how it happens is someone else drops the ball, you're at the right place at the right time, and even if they can't give you business, they might know someone who will, and they might walk you into, have a fox that walks you in with their reputation saying, don't use these guys, try her,
Yeah.
and you have to have people rallying for you behind the scenes. If you don't bid. You're going to lose. And if you win, you might have walked into something that you didn't know what the real specs were, and you might get hurt really badly. So be smart about your bid, no bid decision. Be strategic and know what you're walking into.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this has been great. To kind of summarize, I'm thinking start small, and definitely consider the investment that you're going to have to put in as a business owner into the team, the resources, the money, and that's why starting small is great for small businesses. And then leverage that into relationships. Pick up the phone, go to offices, get to know people, because those become your fox in the hen house. And from there, it's just all about management and managing well, and just not dropping the ball. Does that happen? Does that about wrap everything up, Eileen, or
Oh
did I miss
yeah,
any major
follow up,
points?
stay on top of, be patient, don't give
Mhm.
up, keep working it. It's going to take a year or two to really get some good, solid past performance and bigger projects. But ask for the little projects. They might just hand something to you under the radar that never hit the streets in the first place. If they find what you have to offer to be really good, unique, and capable. So lead with your capabilities, close with your contract vehicles, and set aside.
Great. Well, thanks so much, Eileen, for jumping on with me. This has been great. I've learned a lot. I know everybody else will too. If someone wants to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
Please connect with me on LinkedIn. You can find me, Eileen Kent, the Federal Sales Sherpa, or you can call me at 312-636-5381 anytime. If I don't pick up, I'll call you back as soon as I'm out of a training with someone else, but you will hear from me within the same day. So thank you so much, Josh, for having me, and it's oh so great to see you still doing what you do well, and it's a thrill to refer you business. You've been doing great work with my clients. Thank you for everything you do for the industry as well.
Yeah, and I have all the same stuff to say to you, Eileen. Thank you so much.